Lejla, please tell my story. I met my boyfriend when I was 27 whilst I was playing a game of tennis at our local gym. He had asked the reception to give him my name so that he could find me on social media, and he messaged me immediately. This may seem like a really romantic start to a love story, but it isn't. Our dating process was short-lived and things moved very quickly after we met. In hindsight, I can see now that there were red flags right from the very beginning. Within a couple of months, he had already stopped me from playing tennis with a male friend after multiple accusations of me cheating on him, saying that I had a secret boyfriend. These accusations became so unbearable that I cut off contact with every male friend I had altogether. He was convinced that I was lying to him, and I felt like this was the only way to placate his anger. And it seemed to work, for a short while at least, until slowly but surely, he isolated me from all of my other friends too. He would also never invite me out to any events that included his friends, leaving me with absolutely zero social life. The first time he was ever violent wasn't directed towards me. One day, he got so angry that he threw a vase full of flowers from my hallway directly into my kitchen. Aggression against inanimate objects was not unusual for him, and my self-esteem eroded. He would tell me that I was fat, ugly, covered in spots, in cellulite, and that the only reason anyone looked at me was because of how awful I was. And then I found him on dating apps. I saw messages on there to 10 different women. But when I confronted him about it, with the proof, he told me that I'd made it all up in my head. But the accusations of me cheating only got worse. In one argument over the matter, he took my laptop and my phone to go through the messages that I had. When I tried to get them back off him, he pushed me backwards on the stairs. My arm was so badly damaged that my elbow to my forearm was covered in bruises, black and blue, for a really long time. After the incident, he told me that it was all in self-defense because I was the one attacking him. I knew it wasn't, but I still forgave him. And the accusations started to completely wear me down. It was tiring, constantly having to prove to him where I was, what I was doing, and he started to demand to FaceTime me so that he could see for himself. He would even use sleep deprivation as a form of abuse. Whenever I turned him down for sex, he would keep me awake all night by arguing with me as a punishment. I tried to break up with him. I really did. One time, after telling him it was over, he turned up to my house unannounced and harassed me repeatedly by ringing on my doorbell. I was enjoying a girls' night, so I told him to leave. But he was so certain that I had another man that he went to the back of my house, climbed over the fence and threw a large object at my window, smashing it to pieces. He then proceeded to trash my garden by breaking up my fire pit, tearing down my garden lights and smashing all my plant pots. Another time, he showed up again, saying that he just wanted to talk, so I naively let him in. But the arguments and accusations started straight away, and in another fit of rage, he shoulder barged the wall so hard that it left a big hole behind. Every time he damaged my possessions or property, he took absolutely no accountability for his violent actions whatsoever and always blamed me for it. The final incident was during an argument over more cheating accusations. He started vandalising my home by throwing beer and food on the carpet, and before I knew it, he pinned me down to the floor and unleashed his attack on me. I tried to get up to find my phone and call the police, but he stood on the other side of the living room doorway so that I couldn't get out. So I ran for my landline instead, and thankfully it connected before he managed to charge back in the room and grab the phone off me. I screamed loud so that the 999 operator knew that I needed help. He hung up the phone and said, "No one is coming for you." I knew I had to try and escape, otherwise I was not going to make it out alive. So I ran to try and get outside, but he was too fast. He tripped me up and dragged me backwards through the hallway, and not satisfied with assaulting me, he started to make his way upstairs to hurt my dog too. I could see that my phone was in his pocket, so I went to grab it, at which point he threw me straight into a doorway. I smashed into the frame so hard that the impact knocked me out and split my head open. When I came back around, he denied even touching me. He said that I was having a panic attack despite all the swelling and bruises on my face. My head injuries were so severe from this attack that when I attended hospital, the doctors thought that I'd fractured my skull. I had to have CT scans for months afterwards just to make sure that I was okay. And honestly, if I hadn't have taken pictures of my injuries that night, I think I would have gone on to believe him. I still struggle with the confusion as it is. So having those images has really helped me remember what he did to me, that I was not wrong, and that none of it was in my head. The police attended that day due to the disconnected 999 call. He was arrested and charged, and he pled guilty. He was given a fine and a restraining order, and this didn't stop him though. He still didn't leave me alone. He started threatening to harm himself if I didn't take him back. He would turn up to my house in the middle of the night, continuously smashing my windows. He would follow me in the car, making gun signs, and he would send me pictures of other women in their underwear, saying that they were better than me. This harassment continued all the way up until I moved house. I felt like I haven't had a voice for years. It's comforting to know that there are other people out there willing to listen and understand what I've been through. And the abuse still hurts. His actions still hurt me, and he continues to tell everyone who will listen that I was the one who threw myself down the stairs to set him up and get him into trouble. And somehow, people believe him. And it's a really hard pill for me to swallow. There's just something in the back of my head that makes me feel awful knowing that other women could be harmed by him. I just hope that Claire's law will aid any future partner that he has. I have decided now that it's time for me to move on, so I'm having counselling in hopes that I can leave all the trauma behind and focus on my own healing process. And the last thing that I want to point out is that violence doesn't always have to happen directly towards you for your relationship to be abusive. So please, ladies, don't ignore red flags. Please get help and get out. Please let go of the ties that bond you to your abuser.